What's up, everybody? I am so excited to be in the flow today, and my guest is here, Mr. Marlon Allen. I want you guys to pay attention to this story because this is a amazing story. I think we all have amazing stories. We all have those stories where we can say it was the most high or something in the atmosphere and everything just worked out. So let me go on and bring Marlon right on in here so he can tell us a little bit about himself. Hello, Marlon. How are you? Jazz. What's up, Jazz? Can't hear you. I can't hear you. Huh? Look at the bottom and see the mic. You see the mic in the bottom? Click the mic. Y'all, this is what going live do. You have all kind of technical difficulties sometimes. But you know what? You push through. Don't let nothing stop you. Never let nothing deter you from doing what you said you were going to do. Is your phone on Bluetooth? You got your phone on Bluetooth for anything? Okay, cut the Bluetooth off so we can hear you. Say something. Yeah, what's going on? Y'all be patient with me, huh? Just be a little patient. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, Marley, you want to go out and try it again and see if your connection will come up a little bit better so we can hear you. We want to hear you. Okay, thank you. All right, you guys, he's gonna go out and come back. And as he goes out and he comes back, tell you a little bit about him. He was married for 10 years. He is a single father. He raises his son on his own. He has his own company. He is an inspirational speaker. He's an actor. He's a musician. And I think everything that God has called him to do, or everything that has been in his mind to do, he has attempted to do it. And so that's what these shows are about. Never being afraid to try. You know, life is about doing, and you have to fight through that fear and make things happen. Even when they seem like they're not going to happen, they are happening. And they're happening for you. I was volunteering at the church today, and me and a young lady, Miss Sammy Stats, baby, we were talking, and we were talking about how things seem like they're happening to hurt us. And it's only happening because we haven't dealt with trauma. We haven't dealt with the hurt and the pain. And so those things, those tower moments in our lives, they come to teach us lessons, come to reveal to us the parts of us that have not been healed. And to actually look at life when things are just falling apart and say, they're falling apart for me to learn something right now. What am I learning from whatever is going on in my life, whatever it may be, and understanding that everybody does not want to deal with their pain the way you want to deal with your pain. Some people refuse to heal. They would rather be angry. They would rather be frustrated and sitting in a pool of anxiety. All of those things would kill you because you refuse to do what we were all created to do. We were all created to grow. That's what healing is about. Growing from those stagnant places that cause us confusion and pain. That is our birthright, to grow and become our greatest, highest version of ourselves. And so often, as just people, we don't see ourselves the way the Creator sees us. We see ourselves the way the world has said we're supposed to be, and we'll never be this, and we'll never be that, and we'll never do this, and we'll never do that. And that is from a carnal-minded person saying that to you. Because God has said you can do all things. And you can do all things because I am with you. And pushing past that fear of doing that thing for yourself, saying to yourself, I love myself. I honor myself. I value myself. Those are words I think, oh, and this is another one. I trust myself because God gave us all intuition. And being in that place where you can stand in that freaking mirror every day and say, I love myself just as I am. I trust myself and how I feel. I honor myself enough to speak up and say what it is I have to say. And I value everything about me. I value my time, my essence, my everything. Because all of me is a gift to whoever I may entertain. And everything that's in another person is a gift to me. So the way I love myself and I honor myself and I value myself, I do the same for you. I do that for you because that's what God called me to do. And I'll trust you until you give me reason not to. And then who violated that trust? So let's see if Marlon is going to come on in here. And hopefully we can hear him, y'all. Hello, Marlon. Can you hear us? Oh, we still can't hear you. What is going on, Lord? Help us help ourselves. All right. He's going to try it again, y'all. But being in that place where you have to understand that an unhealed person, someone that's fighting their own growth, is a person that's losing the battle because you're destined to grow. You're destined to be so much more than what you are. That's your destiny. That's your destiny calling for you. You got to leap out into it. That's without fear because God didn't give us a spirit of fear. He gave us a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. Power, meaning that you can destroy fear. False evidence appearing real, you can destroy that just by your actions. You can destroy negative commentaries from others just by your actions. You can destroy and force people to grow. Because when you begin to value yourself and your space and your time and your essence and all of those things about you, around you and concerning you, if they want to be in your life, you are pushing them to the point of growth. And sometimes we have got to do that. We call that tough love. You know, we've got to give people the tough love sometimes because I love you. I'm doing this for you, not to you, but for you. Let's see if Marlon can come in and talk to us now. Marlon. Hey. Yeah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Oh my goodness.
Talking to the people. I was just talking because my plan tonight was to talk to you and for you to tell us.
Thank you.
Who is Marlon? And what is Marlon all about, baby? I can't wait till we get to the chew. But we're gonna start.
I'm all about
listen,
I'm all about life, love, and happiness. And being a blessing to anybody you encounter. And just helping your fellow man and doing the best you can do each day to allow that to come to pass. Every day, it's like I focus on it as I go out and do work or whatever I'm doing. I don't care if it's at a store. I don't care if it's doing my job or just whatever it is at my son's school. Just whatever it is. It's just like that's part of my life.
So let me ask you this because this is my constant awareness of myself. Am I being godly to another human being? You know, am I being like when a person interacts with me, am I respecting them and honoring them and treating them the way that I want to be treated? Or am I unaware of how I'm interacting with my fellow sisters and brothers?
Mm-hmm. You have to be aware. You have to be aware of what you're doing. and be conscious of helping people. That's what I think.
Amen. Now, I got a question. Tell us about the 10 years of marriage. Let me hear this story of how did you guys meet, first of all? How did you meet your wife? And
Well, we worked together and saw one another, and she kind of did. She saw me, I saw her, and one thing led to another, and
10 years later, huh?
yeah, 10 years later, it was what it was. How about that?
But then that was like one of the biggest transformations in your life too at the same time, right?
Yeah, yeah, because I had never been married. It was my first marriage, and um, things didn't go as planned. But that's just how life is.
But you
Fortunately,
did get something beautiful out of it, right?
yeah, of course, I got a beautiful
Man,
son, a handsome son rather. Got a handsome son out the deal, and I couldn't ask. I promise. The one was a blessing to me, and I'm thankful. I'm very grateful to have been blessed to have a son.
amen. Amen. And I think just the experience of marriage too taught you how to be giving of yourself, but then also taught you how to honor yourself at the same time.
Yes, yeah, definitely did. Um, I learned a lot. Learned a lot about myself. Learned a lot about how to, you know, be there for someone other than myself. She was there from kind of the beginning of becoming a man, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
And you know, I learned a lot. I learned a lot of things. I did a lot of things that I hadn't done before that I end up having to do. Like for one, being on a cruise ship. I don't like water. I don't like.
Ah, so she got
I
you
don't-
out your box.
Yeah, yeah, and that was cool. That was cool.
Because we do have those self-imposed boxes. Why do you think we have those boxes?
I don't know. I mean, for me, the reason why I never wanted to be on a cruise was because I almost drowned as a teenager. So,
Okay.
yeah, I almost drowned. One time we had like a skipping party, and we were at this pool, and I go to the middle part where the line, where the separation
Okay.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, I ended up going up under it, and it kind of ended up slipping away from me. I'm trying to grab it. I'm trying to grab it, and it just goes further and further away, and I just go down, down, down.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I started
But
just like
I'm glad you can smile about it now because I'll probably be like, oh, Lord.
I was.
Lord.
It was very traumatic for me. So, um, but I still really haven't learned to swim. Really, I can get in there and hold my breath for a little bit, but I just can't really get into the full motion, if you will, of
I'm gonna tell
swimming.
you a little story. I went to my cousin, she was in college, and so she invited me to a pool party that they had. And the guy, one of her friends, he didn't know I couldn't swim. Baby, this dude picks me up and throws me in the middle of the freaking pool. Oh my, I didn't
Throws
even,
you in
I
the
couldn't even
pool.
think about what to do. I was like,
That's
oh,
horrible.
I'm in the water, I'm in the water, I'm in the water. But I will tell you this, I'm not afraid of water. I'll go out, stand in it, go to the beach and go out into the water. I'm not afraid of it. But just like you, I haven't learned how to swim yet. That's
Yeah.
one of the things that I am going to do because water won't win. I'm going to win over water.
Well, I told myself that I was going to learn to swim also because my son, he actually knows how to swim. His mother helped teach him. When he was a baby, what I did was like I'm gonna show him how to swim, and I didn't really know how to swim, but I knew that babies, they were in
Automatically do.
right. So I
Mhm.
would toss him in the water and just bring him up and everything, and he would started coming up by himself. I'd get in the water, the standing area, of course, and then I would put him in there, and he just started coming up, and he learned how to swim. She taught him more, but
Okay.
He's excellent. He's excellent at swimming, and I want to be able to get in there and enjoy it with him and have fun with him.
No, it just seems like another part of life that we may be missing out on. I look at like scuba diving and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I got to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really
before I leave him. Before I leave him, I'm gonna do that.
Right. So we ride bikes together and we play basketball and different stuff like that. But I wanna be able to get in the swimming pool and swim with him and have fun in there. Without being nervous about being in the deep end.
Have you ever gone? What is it? It's a water park here in Atlanta. It's an indoor water park, and they have like a lazy river.
Yeah, I heard about that. I haven't taken.
You go down and you get into the lazy river. I can do that.
Yes, ma'am. I'll do that now. I'll do that right now. But you ain't about to get me in no pool. I'll get in the standing part, but I'm not going to that deep end. No.
Okay, we gonna get out the water, Marlon, because baby, we'll be right here. We'll be messing with me. We'll be right here in this water. Okay, in the water, in the flow, in the water. Now, after your divorce, you were diagnosed with alopecia.
Yes, ma'am.
How did that hit you?
It was really, it was very rough. It was very rough. Having your hair your entire life. Some people are born with it, and to having your hair your entire life and kind of almost cherishing your hair, whatever you want to call it. Like I loved my hair. I used to have braids and I used to have waves when waves are in and all of that stuff. And well, waves are in, but you know what I mean. So when I lost it, I went to a dermatologist and I walked in and the guy he automatically said, yeah, it's alopecia. I had no idea what it was at the time. I called my mother when I first got wind of it, because I was getting my hair braided. And she said that you have a smooth spot in the back of your head. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, it's like super smooth. And I put my hand back there and I couldn't believe it. It was just like smooth.
Well, let me ask you this. And I'm not making no joke, but I got to laugh at myself.
Go ahead.
I've suffered with alopecia here and there in my life. And I've always wondered, where in the heck is the hair going? It's not on the pillow. It's not in the grass. Where is this hair going, Lord?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you where mine went because I would be in the shower and, I'd wash my hair and, sometimes I just look down at my hand. This was after I found out, and then it would just be all in my hand. It would just be all over my head. And then after a while, it just started really going away. Like my eyebrow was missing half of it. My mustache was missing. And I acquired like a little spot right here in the front. And then this right here was gone. And so, I looked in the mirror one day and got my clippers, cried. And I just said, hey, this is what I am. Cut it all off because I cut hair and I know how to. I cut hair and I cut it all off and I said, "This is me." I'm
so happy that didn't mess you up. You know what I'm saying? I'll depress you, because it kind of depressed me. It really did.
Well, I was for a while.
It depressed me,
and that's what kind of prompted me. Look, that's what kind of prompted me to slow up in my music, unfortunately, because it was so traumatic for me, and I would wear do-rags and I would wear hats. I never liked wearing hats my entire life. And so I started wearing hats, trying to hide it and stuff like that, because I didn't really care about the top part, but the fact that, my eyebrows were gone and my eyelashes. That's another thing. My eyelashes, like growing up, like I got a lot of compliments.
Listen to what you just said. You didn't mind the top part. So you were willing to walk around old school early, huh?
Well, no, yeah, because I knew it was gone. So there's nothing I could do about it. So I didn't mind this part so much. And mind you, this is what I want some people to know. Like when you cut, when your hair goes off like that and you've had it, like it was lighter than my face because this, the hair was on there. So I had to, I had to, try to get in the sun a lot more so it could, it could blend.
Okay.
Because,
Wow.
once the hair follicles are gone, because I had no hair follicles. So when you have hair, so the men that have hair follicles and they just have lots, male pattern balding, they'll still have,
Follicles.
correct. And I don't have those. So you wouldn't see a shadow of black in my head.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it was all light, Let me tell you a story real quick. One time I was wearing a hat at work, and they allowed me to wear hats because of the condition and so forth. And, I love children. And a child came in, and I was like, hey, man, what's up, buddy? I was playing with him and everything. And I went to pick him up and had him on my arm. And next thing you know, he goes and grabs the hat. And this is when I still had hair, but it was missing real big right there. It was just missing a whole, it looked like male pattern balding, but it wasn't. So I was embarrassed. Everybody was in the store. I hurry up and grabbed the hat and put it on.
Yeah.
It was
and
tough.
Do you think that was God saying, get over it?
Correct.
It's time to get over it now.
Yeah, it's cool.
But I'm gonna tell you, when I finally took my wig off, maybe like a year and a half ago, I still had spots. I went to the doctor and they gave me some steroids to, put in my scalp, and the hair started growing back. But I still had spots.
Yes.
And it was so hot in Florida. I said, I'm gonna take this wig off. I took the wig off. I went on Instagram Live and showed everybody my spots. I said, look, it's too hot for me to keep wearing this wig in Florida. You're gonna have to accept me just as I am. And so the barber, he was so cool. Where I had spots, he put designs. He put designs there, and you hooked me right on up.
So I was getting steroid shots as well, and it would make it populate, but it wouldn't fill in as much. So I was just like, you know what? I don't want to put these steroids in my body. I'm just gonna deal with it. You know what I mean? Like it would help it. Like, but getting shot in your lip with a long needle or getting shot, up here, I was like, oh Lord, I'm not doing it. And again, the main thing was because of steroids. I'm like, I don't want these steroids in my body.
So, and I think that was like, I did it like twice. And then I kept thinking about what steroids do. And I'm like, I don't want to keep doing this, Lord. I just don't want to keep doing this. I don't know what we're going to have to do. I know that you told me that the numbers of hairs on my head. And I know you saw more hair than this. That's how I'm talking to God. That's how I talk to my daddy. Look, I know.
Right.
I know something.
Yeah.
You told me something. And so now I'm believing what you told me.
And,
yes, I may have like a little, some may, get thin or whatever.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm gonna rock it right on.
Rock it right on. Rock it.
Rock it. But wait a minute, if it get cold, I'm gonna throw a wig on y'all.
Well, do what you gotta do. See, y'all can do that. We can't do that as men. You dig?
I don't know, because like the new stuff for guys, baby. I don't know, because they got these new, glue the hair up there, you get the waves and everything. Have you seen those videos? Oh my God, I'm like, baby, they doing
going to do it. You won't catch me doing it. I'm just gonna rock it just like this. And what's funny is some follicles, they do pop up periodically, but it'll just be a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit, look like a crazy person. So yes, I had to cut it today actually. Yeah, I cut it today actually because it was too many. It just looks like this, just random spots. It's not like consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna jump right on into.
Go ahead.
After the alopecia, you were in an accident.
Yes, I was in a motorcycle accident. I don't know what year it was. I don't recall what year it was, but I was going through a lot of things, especially with the marriage stuff like that. And I was at work one day and I was just like, I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. So I told my boss at the time, I said, hey man, I gotta leave because I couldn't deal with it. So I got home. They told me, hey, they call me Jazz. It's like, Jazz, don't get on that bike, man. Don't get on that bike. And I said, oh, of course not. I ain't getting on that bike, man. I'm going home, man. I need to chill and whatever. I need to, pray and just relax. So I got home. One of my buddies called me. He said, let's go for a ride. And what did I do? We went, had fun. I said, let's go ahead and go back in. I go to going back in, came around some curves, this and that, and I didn't know how to lean well. You got to lean when it comes to the curves, and if you don't, the bike wants to stand back up and it'll just go wherever it's going. Came over a hill and the road went this way and I went straight. Ooh. Ended up going off the side of a cliff of sorts. Not a cliff, but just a drop. It dropped down and it was, at the time I didn't know what it was, but I hit the big, thick train things. Right. The big square things that are in the ground for the trains. They were standing up because they had horses in there. Mm. Yeah, so it was like a dip, and then I went through the barbed wire, 4 rows of barbed wire. Look at this face. Look at this face. It didn't hurt me at all. I'm nothing. Look at this. Look at my neck. You see this neck? It's beautiful. So when I landed, let me tell you, when I landed, it's like in the movies where you hear the movies when they add those effects like like I hurt myself in my head doing it because I closed my eyes, and when I landed, I was down. I was actually on my back, and I opened my eyes, and I said, "Man, I'm still here." So I felt my leg kind of burning. I was like, why my leg burning? And I thought it was in a hole. It felt like it was in a hole. So I took my helmet off, took my helmet off and everything. And my buddy came back, because he didn't see me behind him anymore. And I looked at my leg and I went to get up, just go ahead and hop up. And my leg didn't go. So it kind of just moved it on its own way. Like, and I was like, I broke my leg, but I'm still here. So they took me to the hospital, bandaged me up. The ambulance came and cut my pants leg up all the way up to, up high, and then my bone was sticking all out. I didn't care. I didn't go into nothing. I didn't faint. I didn't none of the above. I didn't have any pain. That's what I'm thankful for. I mean, it wasn't just a slight sticking out. Like it was like all the way out my leg. Yeah. So they took me and I got metal rods put in my leg, and I'm okay. I can run. I can walk. Obviously I can walk if I can run, but I can't operate the way that I used to. I can't run as fast. I can't jump as high as I used to, but
Let me ask you this, because I don't know why we're telling this story, and it's like we twinning up in here. Because in 2001, I was in a car accident. In the car accident, my leg was bust open. Screws had came out because I had surgery, so you can see the screws coming out my legs and everything. And after going through rehab and all that, it was like a year and a half. I was on my back because I have a rod in my thigh. Yes, so I kind of walk with a little limp. I got that pimp walk going. It's okay. I'm walking. Right. So I'm limping, but when they told me I wasn't gonna walk, I am walking. And for a long time, I didn't jump because I was scared to jump.
Right.
For a long time, I would not. I remember one time I went to go look at some RVs because I'm on an RV. Step up on the RV. Mm-hmm. Step up, but then you got to kind of jump down. Baby, I'm like this. Like, how am I gonna get down from here?
Right.
And something inside of me said, take a chance on you. Nothing is gonna happen to you. But after you endure something like that, don't you just have I want to know if I'm normal. Just that little bit of fear of doing like natural everyday things. Like it took me almost 3 years to even jog because I was too
Well,
scared I was hurt myself.
I was on crutches for a long time, and you know, that was crazy. I had never been on any crutches, and pretty much having to take care of myself at the time. Um, and now, so when I go to, I may jump off of something, you know, something. I don't jump real high, jump off of something, whatever, and it hurts. It hurts a little bit. It doesn't hurt bad, but I'm kind of nervous about it. Like I don't want, none of the screws to
Yeah,
come
mess
loose.
up
I don't want,
nothing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
I mean,
so I'm not alone.
huh?
I'm not alone when it comes to that. Like, Lord Jesus, I
Yeah,
don't want to mess up
you're
nothing.
not
I
alone.
don't want to fall. I'm gonna watch where I'm walking because I don't want to fall and just
Yes,
go
ma'am.
through any of that again. Just
Right.
don't.
Yeah.
And at the
I,
same time, I
I,
don't want to be. I don't want to. I don't think I want to be that scared of life.
yeah. Yeah. No, you don't. You don't need to be scared of it.
Cause I
Just
actually
something.
went.
Something you just had to endure, really. And it's like just like I did. I had to endure it, and you know, sometimes I reflect back on it pertaining to my buddies when they said, "Hey, man, don't go get on that bike." But um, sometimes on Facebook, I'll post something that says, "I'm still here," and so a lot of people didn't know what that meant. And I would put it periodically. I even got a shirt made with it and everything. And I have
Yeah.
it posted up on my Facebook. I'm
Mhm.
still here. So that's just like a slogan of sorts, to let me know that, I'm still in this thing and I have a job to do. So,
Amen.
mhm.
And look, my T-shirt that I created was "I shall not fear," and so I've just been pushing past fear. I got on a zip
Mhm.
line.
Oh,
I
did you? That's
couldn't do
good.
it. Yes, baby. I'm gonna do it. My granddaughter told me, "Mom, you ain't gonna do it." Took me about 5 people went before me, and then I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna jump." And I jumped and I landed. Kind of, had a little boop boop. But then in 30 minutes, that boop boop was gone, and I'm like, "Okay, now I'm okay. I'm okay. I
Right.
did it." And doing those things that I was previously stopping myself from doing makes me freaking proud.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It
That's
really
excellent. Let me tell you one thing I didn't mention, just real quick. I actually redid the motorcycle and I continue to ride. Stop,
Hey,
stop playing. Stop playing with me. I put that. Hey, I put that thing back together. My
uh-huh.
mother, she was like, "Son, I don't want you. Please don't get back on that bike." I was like, you know
Mhm.
what? Look. I was taught if I fall, I
Get
get
back
back,
up.
and that's exactly what I did. And I continued to ride. And I eventually sold it just because I didn't really have a lot of time to ride it. And plus, I took in consideration I have a son now, so it was prior to my son. So I'm like, I don't have to, I don't want to live dangerously, quote unquote, and something happened to happen because I had a idea of riding. And I still want to. I can't even lie. I still want to.
And
I don't
I
do
was
crazy things.
I
Huh?
think I think riding bikes are it's an amazing feeling because it's nothing separating you from life. Like in cars, you have those cages in some cars, you have the
Yes, ma'am.
doors, all of these things around you. But when you on that bike, it's you and the wind. The wind is your
Well,
friend.
well, let
I'm
me
gonna
tell
say
you.
this about some of us drivers. We don't respect bikers that much. I see some people do some crazy stuff and get
And
to the right up on bikes and cut in front of them and all kind of stuff. I'm like, come on, y'all. These people don't have nothing around them.
And see, thankfully, I never had to worry about that. I never even worried about that. I would just pay attention to my surroundings. I'd rev my bike up when I'm going beside somebody so they understand, and that's what I was taught, from a couple guys, rev your bike up so they can hear you. So as I'm going by, I would always hit it like, wham, 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 so you can hear me so you don't have to go merging over into me. So I never had any incidences where I almost got hit or somebody pulled out in front of me.
But you've seen it.
Huh?
Have you seen it?
I saw what?
Have you ever seen like drivers and bikers and how
Oh,
drivers?
yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, definitely. What I would do also when I'm at a stoplight, I will pull in on the side of the car instead of directly behind the car, because if somebody does come and blast me from behind, I'd be going in the middle where there's no corners. So that's why you see guys on bikes. If you ever see them, they'll be on the side of the car, not directly. They shouldn't be, because you'll be squished.
All right, so for the bike intelligence.
Huh?
Thank you for giving us some bike intelligence, some biker intelligence.
Well, yeah, you just pull in the middle. I always pull in the middle, like, on the outside of the car, not in between the cars. So if someone did come from behind me and hit, you've seen it, I would go in between the cars. So,
All right, you guys, we're going to take a quick break, and Marlon is going to come back, baby. We got some more story, baby. It ain't over. You just thought you heard something. You ain't heard it all. It's kind of.
Hey, come back. We're going to talk, man.
Oh, Lord. All right, we made it back, and I want you guys to support the channel so I can keep bringing people like Marlon onto the show, telling us these miraculous stories, because we are, where we at, Marlon? We still where?
Here.
Doggone.
Do you see my favorite though, Miss Powell? I feel like when I tell people, I'll be like, I'm still here.
Okay.
You can't do it.
Out of all this stuff.
Yeah, you gotta put some swag with it, But go ahead, I'm sorry.
After the accident, you began acting.
Yes, ma'am.
And you started your musical journey as well, right?
Well, music has always been something that I pursued. That's solely why I moved to Georgia, is to pursue my music career. I did it in Kansas City. A lot of people knew me. I performed a lot of places. I did a radio spot for the radio. It was called Midnight Foreplay, that one of the radio personalities wanted me to do, and they played that for quite some time, few years. So a lot of people knew me from that. Then I moved here to pursue it further on a greater level than being back home. And when I got here, life just took its toll, and that's when the alopecia came, and so forth and so on. And I met a lot of people. I performed with a lot of people. I produced a lot of people, major acts as well. Like I worked with Parliament Funkadelic. I did a song for them. I performed with H-Town. I performed with Intro, Silk, Howard Hewitt. I performed with a lot of different people. I released the album also. It did really well in like Japan and the UK. But it was so different and eclectic. I heard that word eclectic so much from different labels that everybody was like, we love it, man, we really do, but we just don't know how to market it. And I'm just like, that's not my job. Like, I'm ready. I'm an artist that's willing. I produce my own stuff. I write it. I compose it, perform it. I mean, they loved it, but the deals just went kind of left. They wanted me to keep sounding like different people, like Usher. Usher was kind of real strong back in when I was pursuing, releasing my album. And I'm like, I don't have music like Usher. So
okay, you have music like Marlon, duh.
It's like me, correct.
So it's coming from inside of you, so why would it sound like somebody else?
Well, from a standpoint of a label They just want to make sure that they can recoup their money on a, you know, on an artist. And I get it, but with everything being so different, now they want to sign everybody because they different. You know, that's always been my motto, like different. I was never a follower growing up from anything in life. You know, I just wanted to separate myself. You know, and I never was a follower. So back to the if you wanted to elaborate on that, you could, but you said something about the acting. So I got in acting some years into being here in Georgia. Went to an acting coach, Dwayne Boyd. Shout out to Dwayne Boyd. He's from Kansas City. He works with tons of people, major people, you know, major actors and singers and so forth. Shout out to Janelle Monáe. He worked with her as far as being from Kansas City. She's from Kansas City. And I just started doing a lot of plays. I've done a lot of plays. I worked on a YouTube platform. Like we were starting a YouTube thing, you know, and it didn't come to pass. But nevertheless, like I just started acting. I was like, I like this. I'm always acting a fool, so why not act professionally?
Look, why not get paid to do it?
I get paid to do it. And I'm always acting a fool anyway, so I'm, you know, might as well get into it.
And then that's the thing. I want to say this to everybody watching. Everyone has a God-given talent.
Correct.
Whatever your talent may be, why not monetize the talent? What is wrong with monetizing your talent? You are the land of milk and honey. God gave you the gift, utilize the gift, and let the gift make room for you.
Well, sometimes people are scared though, and we're going to elaborate on that later as far as you know, being scared of sorts to be out in front of the, you know, up front and these things. But I was never scared. I mean, my mother used to tell me, my mother's told me rather, that I used to always dance and sing when people would come over. You know, I'd want to entertain or do something, and every time somebody would come, and you know, I don't have any footage of it, unfortunately, but you know, that's just something I always love to do. You know, I don't get nervous when I'm on stage. It's just like you know, I perform with Jodeci, well, Casey and JoJo, not Jodeci, but E40. You know, so when I say that, I'm just giving you the arena of how many people are coming to see these people, and I opened up for them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, my granddaughter taught me something. I took them out. I was doing grandmama to have a grandmama day, and so a song came on, and she liked it, baby. We were in the mellow mushroom. She jumped off the stool, and she got in the middle of the floor, and she just started dancing. Right. So the lady across the table, she said, I remember she said, you remember when we were young, we used to do that? And I said, yeah, my mom always would tell me to sit down. You know, that's not when you do this. And so kind of paying attention to how as a child growing up, my mom would always tell me to sit down, you know, sit down. This ain't the time, you know, that it ain't the time for that. So baby, this particular day, my granddaughter, she jumped up, baby, she in the middle of the floor. And after the lady said that to me, I got up and I got in the middle of the floor, and I'm like, okay, nothing is stopping me from being free.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I teach my son that as well. When it pertains to going for whatever he's doing. You know, you know, he likes to dance, and he likes to dance as well. So when we're somewhere, and you know, I might be like, hey, get it, Mason. You know, his name is Mason. He'll go ahead and just start doing his thing. No shame, but I've always instilled that in him. We're not being afraid. We're not being afraid.
And I'm not gonna shut you down. Like when I'm with my grandchildren, I don't shit nothing. As long as you honoring yourself and you respecting yourself.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Let's do it. You know, let's do it. I want to see you do it. And I don't never want you to dim your light. Even the kids in my neighborhood. I used to wake up every morning and play this song by what's her name? Ciroc. Forever. I think that's the name of the song, Forever. and it's talking
Yes,
about
ma'am.
never letting your light dim.
Yes, ma'am.
When the kids see me, everybody call me grandma, 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 grandma. They just have a smile on their face because I never want you to dim your light. I want you to, if you're a writer, let me get you a pen and paper so that you can write. If you want to paint, let's go get some paint and let's see what's in your mind. Let me see what you want to paint. I want to be a part of you actually growing and being freaking healthy in the process because I don't know what you're going home to. I really don't. But I know while you're in my space and in my area, we're gonna do some growth
Yes, ma'am.
together.
Hmm.
Now, what instruments do you play? Instruments?
I play keys, no bass and guitar, not like that. Just primarily keys, and I would consider myself a percussionist. Because I always incorporated that in my music and drums as well. I played drums in school, so um, I can, I can make it, the way I do everything. It's still pre-programmed music. I don't have, I had live instrumentation on my album as well, but any live stuff like guitar and bass that I had on there, it was played by someone else.
Okay. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
want you guys to know right now, Marlon is a inspirational speaker. He speaks to families and friends and inspires people to be their greatest. Now, what pushed you into this?
Um, it just, I don't know. I took on to it. Uh, I don't know. People would come to me and want information about, what I do, which is lawn care, and they'd be amazed by what I do, and I'd always just show them how to do it and try to motivate them to do it and so forth. And it just really started. I mean, I've always had it. I'd pull over and help people, with their cars. If something happened to their cars, I'd bring somebody groceries to their car if it was an elderly person or something. I love elderly people, by the way, and just always felt I needed to help. Like my mother's the same way. She's always trying to help someone, and I think that just came off on me.
Now, look, I got to make a pun right here. So I know you like children, and I know you like elderly people. So what about them 30, 40-year olds?
What about the 30 and 40-year-olds? About what? What'd you say?
Because you say I love children and I love
Yeah.
elderly people. So what about the 20, 30, and 40-year-olds?
Well, them that age, because that's what I'm focusing on. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but is this generation? It's a generation of children. It's a generation of parents, and they are the 20s and 30s, and even up into the 40s. But primarily those 20 and 30s. Is the people that are just uh, in this thing of social media. You know, just the stuff that's going on in the world today.
And I think the comparison people do, people compare themselves with everything. I'm the type person, it's only one Latista. My fingerprints tell you it's only one me. I accept the fact that it's only one me. I don't want to be anyone else. I don't want to look like anyone else. I don't want to sound like anyone else. I'm cool with being me. Now, you can rock with me or you can rock steady on the other side, but I'm going to be me. I'm going to
Rock
be me.
steady. Did you say rock steady? I heard
You
that.
just stay right there. It is
Yes,
okay
ma'am. Yeah.
and getting to that point and teaching the young, especially women. I don't know from a male's perspective, but I look at a lot of women that compare themselves and they really believe social media is where it's at. Like social media can be your jump off and it can also be your demise. I
Yeah.
use social media for inspiration. If
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not on here praying or talking about God or talking to somebody that can inspire someone else, I just don't see the purpose of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself, and I have found myself like on social media like all freaking day. Like, come on, let's just put this phone down. Then I had to put myself on phone punishment. You
It
know, I
can be
can't.
addicting. It can be addicting.
Yeah, I put myself on phone punishment, and I got to the point where I couldn't sleep with the phone in my room because I would wake up and that would be the first thing that I touched was my phone, like I was missing something. You know,
Mhm.
put the phone all the way downstairs
Yeah,
because I'm not walk down the stairs, and I cut my ringer off. I cut the notifications off because everything is a challenge. Everything is what you need to do now, and this is happening in the next 3 days, and everything is like a rush, 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 rush.
I want to bring him in real quick because he
Yes,
wanted to give me his hug for the night. So
amen.
excuse me, but he gives me a
Bend
hug
down so
before
we can
he.
see you. Come on the other side of your dad. Can you come on the other side? What's up? How are you tonight? You so handsome.
Thank you.
All this beautiful hair. I'm so happy
Hmm.
that you got on this live stream with us. Don't make these young ladies jealous because they got daughters and stuff. They trying to right now. Go on and go to bed.
That's it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yes. But and just seeing that everything is like a tug of war when you pay attention to social media. Some of the posts that pop up, and it's only 3 days, and what you need to do is, and this is what you need to do, and if you want to do this, you got to do that, and and invest in yourself. But then, what is the best way to invest in yourself?
Believe in yourself.
That's the best way to do it.
Believe in yourself, and that's what I instill in that young man at all costs.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, we don't even use the word "can't" in this home. Like that's like a cuss word to me. If I ever hear him say it, he knows I get real serious.
Mhm.
I don't play with that. Like, look here, you say can't. I'm telling you, didn't say it a cuss word. And
Because
anybody
we are
that knows
all
me,
infinitely intelligent. And when you know that you're infinitely intelligent, and I don't think that we should have to wait. Me and one of my cousins were talking today, and she was like, well, I'm one of those type of people that's kind of like a procrastinator, and I wait to the last minute because I do better at the last minute. I said, you know what I had to teach myself to do? Do the hard, excuse my expression, y'all, SHIT, do that
mhm,
first.
right,
And then the
right,
other stuff will come. You know what I'm saying? But the hard stuff that I know I got to push through, those phone calls I really don't want to make, and I'm gonna do that first. I'm gonna put that
right.
first on the list. Let me go on and get this out the way because I want to deal with it, and I don't want to wait to the last minute to have to deal
Hmm. You're right.
with it. That's living in anxiety. That's living in stress. That's living in frustration and worry and all that. I don't want to
Mhm.
live. I want to live freely in my
Right.
mind.
You got it.
Oh, now, when you speak to your friends in these, now, is it like I don't know, because you do speak at centers and you do outreach as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. That is. I'm starting to because I just started my company, and I'm going to be branching out to do bigger arenas. I talk to a lot of children around the community, around the neighborhoods. I speak to people that just need motivation. Um, like I say, friends and family, or just people that I come across on a daily. Like I say, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that I would come across someone and it just happens right there. Like I'm just thinking of something, as they're speaking. It depends on what it is. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if it's just it could be having a bad day. If I go into a store and the employee is looking crazy or mean or just looking like they're just being bothered, I always try to take a second and motivate that person and speak life into them, make them smile. Like it's so if the whole world did that, man, it'd just be so much better. Like
Because it's not that hard. Now, I will say this. I'm gonna say this to people that may know how to pour into other people, but you don't know how to pour into yourself. It makes no sense for you to build up another temple and your temple
hmm
is down. Your mentally, your temple is just If you can look in that mirror and find everything wrong about you, how can you go out into the world and find something spectacular in another person? How can you even build someone else up until you build up yourself? You are the main person that has to be built before you can build.
Do you know every day of my life, I promise you, I say, today is going to be a great day.
Mhm.
I speak it into life every day.
And
I
that's
tell
what the
them,
Bible says. The Bible says to speak your day into existence.
if
I
you
wake up
don't,
and I
I mean,
say, Lord, look, Lord, I expect happiness, joy, peace, harmony, laughter. These are things I expect. Now, I want you to understand when you say a prayer, you're really praying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're praying. Like if I want harmony, guess where harmony has to start? If I want peace, well, peace got to start.
yeah,
All that stuff got to start in me before I can expect it outside of me. So while I'm praying this prayer, talking about, Lord, these are the things that I expect my spirit to do exactly what I said. We're going out
hmm
here, we're going to have a great time today. We're going to have harmony, joy, peace, laughter. We're going to enjoy every interaction that we have today. Then we're going to come home and we're going to say, job well done. You
that
know,
is correct. Yeah. I start my son's day off, like I said, every day. But I tell him, today, no, what I say is have an awesome day to him, as he's getting on the bus. And I say, Daddy loves you. I mean, that's every day. I'm not, if he happens to have to run to the bus or something, like I'm feeling some type of way if I didn't get a chance to say it or something or give him his hug. I think that's very important and vital that we encourage our children. I always tell them, hey man, don't disappoint daddy. Have an awesome day. Make me proud of you. That's
and
what I
then
tell
look,
them in the morning.
don't disappoint yourself.
Yeah,
Because
don't
if you
disappoint.
go out there and you do something that's going to disappoint me, you really disappointed yourself. Because
Yes,
you knew better. You know what I'm saying? It'd be different if you didn't know, but because you do know, you're letting yourself down because you know you're so much greater than whatever the situation could have been. You're so much
correct.
higher. Like I don't argue with people. I'm too high and I'm too much, and I laugh. I am too high and I'm too much. I will never stoop down. I ain't got time.
Mhm.
I don't have
Right.
time for it. That's where you are. I honor and respect you for being there, but I'm not gonna stoop down to your level. I'm not gonna be able to. I love me too much. Love me too much. And another
hmm
thing,
And you should.
I think that we should tell our friends, I love you. We should tell our family, I love you. Sometimes people don't hear that. You know what I'm saying? And they don't know how to receive that because they're so used to giving love. And so if I'm on the phone with my friends and we hanging up, and I'm like, all right, I just want to let you know I love you. And some of them will be stunned, like, oh, okay, yeah. But I appreciate the fact that you're in my life, that you even thought to pick up the phone and call me. I just want to say I love you because I'm not sure if you heard it today. I told myself that in the mirror today. But to get it from an outside source of somebody appreciating you, really just being in their life, I think that means a lot for you as a human being to give that to somebody and to be able for them to even receive what they probably haven't heard in years.
You
Like I
know,
hug people and you can tell sometimes they ain't been hugged. Have you ever hugged somebody and realized they hadn't been hugged?
yes, yeah, that's
It's a
very
hurting
important
feeling.
to me.
Like they
Eh,
don't even know how to hug you back.
just to elaborate on that a little bit, I I uh, I periodically would just send text messages to random, not say random, but my family, definitely my cousins, my mother, my dad, my uncles, aunties, um, close friends of mine or whatever, and I'll say, hey, I love you, whoever it is, I love you, uncle, whatever, auntie, whatever. And for a while, my mother always wondered, like, why do you always send me that? Like, I guess she didn't know how to take it.
Mhm.
And I said, because mother, I love you. I love you. I don't get to see you. I'm in Georgia, and primarily my family is in Kansas City. I don't have. I have a cousin here. I have a cousin here, but all my immediate family, you know, cousins I grew up with, my mom, my dad, my uncles and aunties, they're in Kansas City.
Mhm. And
So,
then I can tell you, I can say this when it comes to that word too. You can tell a genuine "I love you" compared to that other kind of "I love you."
mm-hmm.
Like, okay, oh, okay.
It's funny you say that because I tell people that I don't know I love them, but I don't look. I'm not going to look you in your face and say something like I love you, where you might take it the wrong way. You know, as I'm leaving somebody, if I just met you, I say, "All right, man, take care, love you, man," and I'll just go on about my way. You know,
Yeah.
in a way, like I'm not saying I love you in
Love
that
you, love you. Yeah,
way.
like an intimate kind of love. I love you.
Yeah, like get out of here. How can I be telling you that I don't know you in that fashion? But some people think that that's kind of crazy. I just another story real quick. I used to work at a place and there'd be a guy that comes in, tattoos everywhere, tattoos. He wore all kind of quote unquote gang affiliated clothes and so forth. And he would come in and I liked his energy. I liked his persona. I liked the way he led himself. And so one day he came in and he was leaving. And I said, "Hey, all right, man, take care, man. Love you, boy." And so he stopped. And I actually got kind of nervous a little bit just because, everybody, he might take it the wrong way. And so he turned around. He said, "Hey, man, did you just tell me you love me?" And I said, "Yeah, dog." He was like, "King." He came to put his head down and grab my hand. He's like, "I love you too, sir." And I was like, whoa, but it was the way he looked. It would intimidate somebody. Like you probably don't want to say that, or you probably don't want to even talk to him. Like tattoos all over his face. He wore the clothes.
Then that's judging somebody. You know what I'm saying? You can't judge. You don't
Right.
even know why people have their tattoos. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And most people have tattoos. I can tell you all of my tattoos mean something to me. Like my
Right.
mom passed, I've got my
Mhm.
hands tattooed to remind me to just live. God is in control. Had my son and I got prayed up. All of my tattoos mean something. So that's like stay out of that. That's their personal decisions why they do what they do. At the end of the day, they're still a human being.
Yes, ma'am. I have
And
tattoos.
we all make choices. Some of them ain't
Mhm.
always good. We make some choices that's not always good.
Because he
But
gives you the will. He gives you the will to do what you want. You know what's right and wrong. So he's going to give you the will to either do right or do wrong or whatever.
mm-hmm.
And that's what I live by.
Now let's get into that because I love talking about this will thing. People act like they don't understand that they have free will and that they're forced to do things and they have to do this and this, that, and other. No, we have free freaking will. I have a problem when people take away my free will because that takes my freedom. Then that does something to me. It gets up under my skin for real. Because what if I don't want to do this?
Correct.
You mean to tell me you're going to force me to do something that I don't want to do and I don't like it? Then
Right.
it may be another part of Latiska that come out because
Correct.
you're not going to force me to do anything. But on a natural, everyday basis and I look at life like this, every day that we wake up, our day is void. Just like the earth was void at the beginning of the Bible. Our day is void. And the moment we wake up, our consciousness becomes aware and we begin thinking and making decisions. What I'm going to put on, what I'm going to eat, what time am I going to leave, what am I going to say when I get into the office, and all day long we're making choices and we're consciously aware of making these choices. And so however your day ends up, how about this? However your day begins is up to you. However your day progresses, guess what? It's up to you. No one should be able to control you in your day.
Correct.
I don't give you power to control me. I'd rather laugh at you and walk away. Before
Correct.
I give you the power to take me outside of who I naturally am, the devil is a lie. You know what I'm saying? You're a lie. I'm not gonna let you do it.
A lie.
And
I just
I'm
want
gonna
to say it again with you. I lied.
look, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna have a great time. And even after that episode that I probably didn't necessarily care for happened, I'm gonna erase that from my memory, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say, you know what? They were probably having a bad day, a bad moment in time, and so I forgive them. You know, I forgive them. But Latiska, and I'm not gonna say but because but erases everything that you just said. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I appreciate you, Latiska, for taking the higher ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
That's
I
it.
love you, girl. You're an awesome wonder. God said you was an awesome wonder. I see it all over you.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, let's talk about Chew. Please tell me what Chew stands for and how Chew came to be.
I'm glad you asked that. So the name of my company is a chew group. Chew, like you're chewing gum. And the reason for this is because my grandmother's last name was Chew. She passed away some years ago, and she really meant a lot to me. And I always wanted to either dedicate something to her in regards of really I almost wanted to buy her entire her block and name it her name that I grew up on, which her block that she lived on. And that was my ultimate dream of life, is to buy that block and name it her name. So my grandmother uh, helped take care of me, during my childhood. Uh, and I would be over there a lot, and she just meant the world to me. So I said I'm gonna name this name of my company a Chew Group, because she helped build the life of who I am, and took care of me and just molded me. And when I was ill, she would take care of me. When I was hungry, she'd feed me, and so forth. When I got it, when I would get in trouble, it was a firing up. Like she would fire me up. So came out of Chew Group, and a Chew Group. The acronym for that is Cultivating How Excellence Wins. Cultivating How Excellence Wins, which entails, if we can just teach our children to be excellent in their lives in every aspect that they do, like you're going to win. But you have to
And
put
to
the
lead by example too now. Don't just tell
right
them.
example. See, we don't
You
we
got
don't do
to,
the following. We don't do the following in the Allen household. We don't do the following. He knows that. We don't do
but
we
listen to
don't
what
do
I'm
the
saying. As parents,
as parents.
carry yourself in a way that your child has something to freaking look up to.
Right. And
That's
that's
not
that's
asking too much.
it's not
You know,
asking too much.
you hear so many times, do as I say, not as I do. Well, then what is the problem with you doing better for yourself so that then this child can have a living example of what the
Correct.
example should be?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I title it the uh, what I want to say. I title it the syndrome. Let me see the what I call it, where it trickles down in your life from your grandparents to your mama. I mean, to your parents or whatever, and it just went to you, and then you're trying to do it over here
Taught
with your
behavior,
child. Yeah.
taught behavior, generational stuff. Taught behavior, generational stuff
Oh,
that needs to be in
generation
place.
curse. That's what I want. Thank you so much. The generational curse of sorts, if there is a curse. I'm not saying every family has it, but some families have it, and I try to not even worry. I don't get off in all of that. I just do what I'm supposed to be doing. My mother always taught me that what's right is right, wrong is wrong, and that's just simply what I do. Out of all the
Mm.
things that I've actually done in my lifetime that may not have been all great, that you know it was a choice.
Now let me ask you
Mhm.
this, because we had this discussion in the studio yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
Right and wrong is only in your consciousness. There
Hmm.
are righteous actions, which, what would God do? What would Jesus do? What would be the higher ground? That's a righteous act. But when
Yes,
it
ma'am.
comes to right or wrong, that's only in the person's consciousness. Because like, let's say you say something is wrong today, right? Oh, that's wrong, and I wouldn't have did that, then I this, that, and the other. And then you find yourself in that same situation. Then all of a sudden it's right. So you know your right and wrong could switch up on you. But a righteous act is a righteous act. A true act of humanity or of God or higher power has nothing to do with right or wrong, because we get our perceptions of what is right or wrong or good or bad from other people. Those are taught behaviors as well. You know, like if I lived in another continent, some of the things that my mama thought were good and that I may say is good, I went somewhere else with that, they'll be like, what is going on with her? That's not what we do here, you know?
Right.
So it's only in your perception that is right and wrong. And getting past that place of wanting to be right or wrong and allow, you know, kind of accepting what you don't truly understand. That's getting in a place where you don't necessarily judge, because I may not do it. And if I see it's gonna cause you some harm, I'm gonna say something to you. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm here to correct you because you may not be aware. And some people do things because they're not aware of what they're doing will hurt them in the end.
Yes, ma'am.
Or either they're so used to seeing trauma and pain in their neighborhood and in their houses. Like I had a little girl, so sad, maybe so sad. Anyway, beautiful little young lady, and she liked to write. So I got her a little tablet and I told her to write her stories out and talk to God every night. You know, journal, do your little stuff. Anyway, she came over to my house one day and she was like, Miss T, can I talk to you? And I said, yeah, you can come talk to me. So call in my room, baby. She just bust out crying. What is going on? So I'm standing there looking like, what is going on? I don't know if I want to know this right now, because you were smiling, the next minute now you tears pouring. So she told me about her mom's boyfriend had beat her mom up, and she ran up the stairs and all she saw was blood in the laundry room, and she wanted to help her mama. And so now I'm sitting there and tears rolling all down my face. I'm like, Lord, what am I supposed to do? So the only thing I could think to do to tell her was, baby, your mama has to save herself. There's nothing you can do to save her right now. You know, she find that space and love in herself. I said, but what you can do is you can get that pen and you get that piece of paper and you can talk to God about it and ask God to help you, you know, to get through that. Because as a child, you want to fix things and you can't fix everything as a child. And to see her, anyway, she leaves the house. No, her mom come over to the house. Yeah, come on out here. Just cussing out. So I said, okay. A few minutes later, I hear this girl screaming, hollering. Everybody's standing on their porch like they don't hear it. And I'm in a freaking rage because I've been in an abusive relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
My mama had, you know, she was an alcoholic and she would get in her rages. And then I grew up and I was in another abusive relationship. And I understand all it takes is one hit to kill somebody, or they could fall wrong or anything. Baby, I take off. Whew. I'm going to say, baby, I don't put my cape on. I'm tough everybody out. How y'all gonna stand here and just stand on y'all porch and hear this girl hollering? And I'm talking about she was screaming. And it was like something I had never heard before, you know, coming from a child. Like she was terrified.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
they just standing on their freaking porch. And I'm like, this is how people end up in body bags every day. Y'all standing here and watching this happen. Well, I ain't got to do with that. That's between her and her mama. Well, her mama has some issues. And we're going to allow her mama to pour her issues out on her child. And we're going to just stand here and let this happen. I think not on my watch. I'm so sorry. I don't carry that with me. I'm not going to be able to do that. And so knock on the door, get the mama, come. Baby, you know I love you. I love you. And I don't know if you ain't never heard this before. I love you. But what you doing to her? See, you taking out that anger, that man putting on you, you bullying her, and you taking it out on her. You can't do that. You need to dismiss his behind. But the pain he putting on you, that child don't deserve that. And sometimes you have to say that to people for them to realize who they are, baby. You can't do that to a child. Who gave you permission?
Right.
You already giving her a bad example, allowing this person to come in your house and do that to you, beat you up. You so beat up, you can't even clean up the blood and hide it or whatever you need to do. You feel what I'm saying? Right. So look at the big picture of everything this child is seeing. Don't you know you teaching her to do the same freaking thing?
That's sad.
That's generational foolishness. That's on fleek, because when you're not aware that evidently you must have saw this and it was okay, and so you thought it was normal. Or like you see teenagers, they in relationships and everybody cussing each other out and that's because they grew up in houses and that's how they spoke to one another. That's their parents or their mama's boyfriends or whoever, that's how they spoke to one another and dealt with one another. And so they get out here in these relationships and they do the same freaking thing. What do they do? Show their children, and their children grow up, and it's a continuous freaking grow up. Somebody has to grow up.
Yep. You are
Somebody
right.
has got to find love in themselves. Somebody has got to say, not in this timeline, in this dimension. This won't happen in my family line, never ever. You know what I'm saying? You got to be that. And why not be the GOAT about certain things in life? Be the freaking GOAT. Save a child. Save yourself. Save yourself, right. And then save a child.
Yes, ma'am.
I know we got off deep in, y'all.
Baby,
I got some experiences, but then, when we got into that generational thing, people don't realize what's generational. What happened to you, you pass on to your children because you thought it was normal. And a lot of grown people won't even admit the fact that they freaking bullies. They'll take it out on the child, but they won't take it out on the adult that's doing it to them.
Yes, you're right. That's sad.
And becoming aware of that. Like, how am I showing up? Who am I to another human being? I don't care what the age is. Who are you being to another human being? And then if you know that you trespassing somebody, who gave you permission?
Who gave you permission?
Come on.
These people gonna get mad at us. They probably like, they talk about all kind of stuff.
That's what we came over here to do. We came over here to talk, and we came and we talking about some good stuff.
Good stuff.
If you get taking you some notes, and got you a pen and a piece of paper, take you a few notes.
Take a couple notes.
At the end, the thing is, we're still here.
You must like that. You must like that. I'm still here.
That's it. That's what we're getting. That's the whole gist of the story. 10 years of marriage, diagnosed with alopecia, accident, the recovery of that, went into acting and being a musician and playing everywhere and for everybody, into now a motivational speaker, lifting and raising the elevation of the minds of the children early, outreaching into the community. None of these things stopped him from doing any freaking thing he wanted to do. He fought through all of the fear. He fought through all of the, I guess, doubt. Did you ever have any doubt anywhere?
No, ma'am. No doubt.
You just knew you were gonna make it.
Yes. I believe that. And it's unfortunate that the other people that can make those decisions didn't see that as well. But this is the path that he chose me to be on, and I love it. It just makes me feel just as good as music does. I listen to music every day of my life with everything that I do in my life. So music will always be part of my life. But now I want to, for the remaining of my life, however long that is, I want to make a difference in these children, man, because they need them. Not to call you man, but I need to make it. I feel that these children need us, and the parents need us too.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I learned when I was in school to be a therapist. At first, all I wanted to do was work with children. That was it. Oh Lord, I got to help the children. Got to help the children. And then I realized, what sense that making you sending them home to those parents? So you got to do a community thing. You got to be of service to the community. In some kind of way, you've got to invite those parents in so that they can get what you're giving the children.
And that's a great point. And that's, I want to start with the parents as well, really, because that's where it's going to come from, is the parents, and teaching these children the things that is going to make them successful in life. Not just the academic part. And we got our children in school, and we depend on them to help them be successful and so forth, and learn and all these different things. But we have to do our part as well. We have to bring them in and cultivate these children. Throw that in there, cultivate. And kind of mold them and teach them the things other than school. Like, when they come home, you have to work with them too, and teach them the stuff that the teacher was trying to learn, teach them and everything. Because you got 27, 30 children in a room, everybody may not grasp it, but again, it's our responsibility as parents to not just allow the school, to teach our children. Like, that's ludicrous to me. We can't depend on them. We already know they're underpaid.
The key is, you your child's first teacher anyway. Who told you you wasn't a teacher?
You don't want to hear me. You don't want to hear me talk about it.
You the lowest paid teacher it is. You are the teacher. You are the person that teaches this child. This is a basin. This is a sink. This is a cupboard. This is a bedroom. This is how you put your clothes on. This is how you do this. This is this. You are the teacher.
Yes.
And then if you just pass there's nowhere in the world I would want somebody else to teach my child some stuff that I know I could teach them myself.
That you can teach them. Let me tell you, how many children I see that come around me that don't know how to tie their shoes? That makes me so mad.
I tutored a little boy, and he didn't even know what gravy was. He didn't even know what a lantern was. And I was like,
how does he not know these things? How does he not know these things? Because he's not being taught. The parents aren't spending time with them. Unfortunately, you got the single mothers, and that are typically taking care of the children and so forth, and they're having to work, and they're having to do this, that, and the third, work 2 jobs sometimes, and so forth and so on, because the father isn't around for whatever reason, and they're missing that time, that opportunity when they're young, to mold them with these different things. I taught my son at 2 years old. I made him little cards that I had, that I got, and I would put 1 through 10 on there when he was 2 years old. And I taught him 1 through 10. He knew how to spell the word, and he knew what it was. I taught him his words, his sight words, and I knew I need to start off this right now. I put, like the and car and about and all these little words, and he was learning at 2 years old. That is now how he can read fluently. I used to read to my son all the time when he was a child. For some reason, that was embedded in my head because I heard it so much. You got to work with your child. You got to read to him, get him, so forth and so on. So that's what I took, and I took the initiative to do that, and now he can read. He knows these words.
I'm going to say this, and then give them the opportunity to read to you.
Right. Yeah. Common sense ain't always so common when it comes to helping these children.
And then how about this? My aunt used to make us do what do you call it, like essays on the books. Growing up, we used to read books. Baby, do you know for a long time, I didn't even know she had never read the book.
You didn't know she had read the book?
She had never read the book, but baby, we would have to read these books and do these essays. Baby, when I found that out, I was like, what? I could have put anything on the paper, but I would not take those days back. You know,
Right.
I would get on, my mom would put me on punishment. You know, back in the day, we had encyclopedias. So, baby, she'd go pick out an encyclopedia and you gonna know these pages right here. And that was my punishment. So I would sit up and I would just read.
Now, speaking of an encyclopedia, that's what I was taught at a young age because my mother bought me encyclopedias. And you know how expensive encyclopedias were back in the day. So I didn't know then until later on in age, like they were very expensive. And she took the initiative to buy them to teach her son at a very young age. Like I knew how to spell encyclopedia when I was like 4 and 5. You know, I don't know the exact age, but I remember her teaching me and I knew encyclopedia. So now I teach my son as I'm speaking. Let me tell you something. When I'm speaking to my son, I never use regular words, right? I use intelligent words so he can understand.
And he's intelligent.
Yes, so I can also allow his vocabulary to be vast and not just be regular when he's speaking. So as let me tell you, this is going to watch it. So as I'm speaking to him and I use whatever word it might be that I think he may not know, I say, hey, do you know what that word means? And if he says no, then obviously I'm going to tell him. But sometimes he'll say, yes, I know. And I say, well, tell me what it means. And if he doesn't know, I'm going to tell him what it means. And I'm going to tell him now what I want you to do, spell it for me. Spell it. And if he doesn't know how to spell it, he'll get it almost by one letter or two at the most of some and big word, whatever you want to call it. I call them intelligent word. But like my son, he's on top of that. He's a smart a smart child. So, and that's because I spent the time with him. And you have to spend the time with your children, man. You have to. If you don't, then you're going to get what you get.
So I'm gonna tell you this. I spent a lot of time in punishment when I was growing up. And my punishment was always reading the encyclopedia. And now you're gonna go get that dictionary, and I want you to go get 10 words off of this page or 5 words off of this page. Give me a couple of pages and 10 words, and you better know the meaning and all that. That was my punishment. But I never understood that was a good punishment.
Excellent. And that's what I do for my son as well. When he gets in trouble, I let him know that you disappointed me. But then I'll say, guess what? Go hit that book, go do whatever it is. But we're going to get off that TV. We're going to get off that game. We're going to get off that cell phone. And don't ask about nothing. Recess time. We're not having recess time. We're about to have learning and behavior time where you done messed up, buddy. And don't push me because you might get a little bit more than that. You understand me?
Not no pressure.
We're going to get the pressure. Understand that. I don't play. My son understands that. I don't deem everything necessary that, it needs to get worse than that. But, I teach my son there's consequences to everything in life. There's whether you're an adult or a child. So I want you to understand the things that and that's the word, the word consequence. Like he knows how to spell that because I taught him that there's consequences to your behavior, son. You can't go and if I go and kill somebody, guess what? I'm going to jail. If I go and smack somebody or hit somebody, guess what? They're going to hit me back.
Yeah, but then that's, life for life. What you put out, you get back. You put it out, you get it back. And then you can't get upset. Just don't even try to get mad about what you put out because you're going to get it. It's yours.
Yeah.
It's
so
yours.
that's why I teach him. He sees daddy. He sees daddy all the time. I took him downtown and he saw us giving out clothes, went downtown, took the lady down there. We went down there and gave clothes and socks and stuff like that to the homeless. So I let him see these things. I'm like, look, dude, do you see these people? They don't have food. They don't have clothing. They don't have a place to stay. They're sleeping right there where they are on that concrete. So he can see like that's That's why daddy goes so hard for you, so you will never have to endure that. You know, never have the opportunity to, you know, he sees me do, you know, like I say, I'm an entrepreneur, so he sees that he go out and get up every day and do what I got to do. You know, I make sure my son, you know, looks nice. I make sure he you know, he eats well. I'm just make sure he's activities with his school. Like I'm there with the activities. Like, yeah, I mean, you have to engage with your child, and you know, when I see these people that aren't doing it, it really it gets to me. You know, you got to make it. I was always taught you make time for the things that's what important to you. You know, I got to make time for every aspect of my life, my business, my son, my lady, everything. You know, my excitement, my entertainment. You know, so yeah, I can talk your head off about that. We need some more stuff to happen with these children.
Really. And then I will say this, it takes the parents to say, I need help.
That's where I want to fit in. I understand. I don't have all the answers. I have one child. I just know what my mother instilled in me and what she did for me. She taught me to take care of my brother because she had to work. So I learned how to change a diaper. I learned how to test the bottle. I know when he's crying, he might have boo-booed or pee on himself. So, you know, I was taught these things. My mother instilled these into me. So I teach my son the same thing. You know, you need to have discipline, you need to have nurturing, and you need to have love. You know, without these things, like what are you doing? You know, you just don't give your child something and he ain't really doing what he's supposed to be doing. You giving him these material things, you know, getting him some new shoes, or getting this, that, and the third. But what is he doing to deserve it? Does he have chores?
And then there's a lot of children that are doing what they need to do to have the things that they have, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the same time, they have no intellectual intelligence at all. They have no social skills. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, you hitting on everything. You about to get me excited up in here. Social skills. Do you know how important that is to me? Independence. When I say independence, my son knows how to wash his clothes. He knows how to wash the dishes. He does the trash. He vacuums the floor. I instill these in him. You know, he sees me. I'm gonna vacuum the floor too. I just don't put it off on my son. I mean, I'll do the living room, but guess what? You're gonna do your room and you're gonna do the hallway.
Shared responsibility. That's what you're talking about. Shared responsibility.
Structure, Miss Powell. Structure.
Yeah, if you say, let's see, me social skills is being able to interact with people. You know,
correct.
Your sisters and brothers in a healthy way, your neighborhood people in a healthy way, and it's not all irritated and you know jump off. You know, some of the children jump off the porch, baby, because they can't sit down 5 minutes and somebody looked at them wrong and they worried about what I got on. And then you have those group of children that think that because they wear these Jordans and all of these things that they're higher than everyone else. You have all these kind of mindsets that you deal with, you know, and to give a child something that yes, they deserve. Yes, you deserve because you do well in school. You don't necessarily have the social skills that you need to have because you're shy and I don't let you interact with people as much as I should. And to keep a child humble enough to know that everybody's not going to have what you have.
Correct.
And there's no reason for you to go outside of this door and belittle anybody because what they may or may not have.
You speaking?
Yeah, this is a gift to you.
You speaking? Because I don't play
no better than anybody else.
My son say I don't do the bullying stuff, but I did. I'm gonna tell you one thing I do teach my son is how to crack. You know what cracking means? Cracking means joking with someone, because that's where the bullying stuff starts to come in, right? And I never want my son to feel bullied. So I know children are going to be children. They're going to make fun of one another. They're going to, talk about their clothes or their shoes or, just something, their lunch. I teach them how to interact with that. So if someone says, hey, man, what kind of shoes you got on? And I teach them, hey, look at your hair. Like you ain't had a haircut in 2 weeks. Like, so that way that bullying stuff doesn't come to. We're not doing that. And I teach him, you don't make, you don't sit around and make some fun of somebody and you see that they don't know how to crack. That's what they call it, cracking on someone, because that means that you're bullying them because they don't know how to respond to you. And you're hurting their feelings. And next thing you know, they've held it in. And one day they're going to bust you in the face.
They popping off on everybody.
Or
the
worse.
way they do it now, they pop off on everybody, the whole school.
Whole school. Right.
It's not just one person.
Yeah. So but you understand what I'm saying? Like, you got to teach them that, because then, you'll have to deal with your child being bullied and don't know why, because he's in there just like, yeah, go ahead. It's okay. No, I teach them. We're not doing that. We're not, I
think they have a law like if your child is a bully, that it is like they can charge the parent. I got to read. I know back in the day they had a law like something like that in Atlanta. Like if your child is a bully, they can actually charge the parent.
Oh,
like
really?
They say if something happens to the child that was being bullied. They say your child was bullying somebody. Now, mind you, the child has been being bullied by other people. But this particular thing, your child say something and this child go commit suicide or something. And they can prove it was because of something that you said or something that you did to this child. And see, I don't think that children really think of the consequences like that. Because you don't know what another person is going through at home. They've already endured 2 or 3 classes, and yeah, they don't have the Jordans and they don't have the book bag and they don't, they don't have all these things. And so everything is coming at them, tearing them completely down.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you decided to say this one last blast, and guess what? The cup is full and overflowing.
Yes, ma'am.
So who is responsible?
I mean, you gotta, it's gotta be at the house. I mean, I don't know if it would be the parent. I ain't gonna say that. It starts at home. I mean, everything, it starts at home. That's what I feel. I'd hate to say that the parent is liable, but it's like, man, you did you teach your son, like, how to defend himself, where sometimes he don't have to just go and well off and punch somebody in the face? I teach my son that, but I teach him that you don't let nobody punch you in your face where they trying to hurt you, dude. Mm-hmm. And I talk to him just like that. Nobody's to hit
you. She said, don't hit nobody in their face because it'll make them hate you. Mm-hmm. And don't allow anybody to hit you in your face. So I've never been I've seen parents dog slap their children. And I'm like, just to see it made me understand what my mama was saying. Because at the moment that you do that, you're not even in that person's mind. Just imagine how that person feels at that moment. And are they going to be able to let that go? Or are they going to always remember? You know what I'm saying? And just being mindful of the actions that we do.
Yeah.
Children, like I can say this, growing up in my house, my mom was single, but she taught me how to talk about women. That be there, I can't stand her, and look at this. And for a long time I carried those characteristics with me. Yeah, because that's what my mama did. So, that's what her did. So, but then realizing at the moment I realized I didn't even want to be her. That she looked good being herself.
Right.
That I didn't want to be me. I wanted to be me. And I wanted to be authentically me. With none of her bleed through no kind of way. Just didn't want to bleed. That a lot of her bleeding did come through because it took me a minute to realize she was bleeding through me.
Yes, ma'am. Right. And so we all have to acquire that knowledge once we get older and learn about our parents and what they had to endure, how their life growing up was, and kind of incorporate that in our thought process as to why she was like this and why am I doing this and so forth and so on. You know, I wanted to touch on something real quick also. I think that the parents, you know, you need to teach your children the fundamentals of life. And this was way back when we first started talking about a Chew group, because, you know, you need to teach your children how to brush their teeth correctly. Make sure they're maintaining that per day. Make sure they know how to wash correctly. Make sure they know how to, you know, just take care, let them dress themselves, because that's where that independence comes from. I let my son dress himself. Now I might critique it and be like, son, I'm just letting you know now. They don't look good together. Them colors, I don't know. So that way, so he's learning about that. So when he goes to school, that opportunity doesn't permit itself where the children, man, what you got on? Like, man, you got on green, red, and blue and all these, and that don't match with the bottom. But I let him be that independent part of him, and I just let him know. But I say, son, if you like it, go ahead and wear it. But daddy just letting you know, so I can teach him these, how to dress. Make sure they brushing their hair. Make sure
when it comes to allowing a child to be its authentic self. Okay?
Yeah.
Growing up, my mother purchased my clothes. Now I may go with her, and every now and then I would get what I wanted, and then she was stuck. And this is how I want you to look. You get what I'm saying? So I had the option of picking out the look that she had picked out for me, because she refused to let me be authentically me.
So what do you feel about that?
Well, now I'm grown and I can wear what I want to wear. I can be just as jaded up as I want to be. But I was a little girl. I always wanted to just be spectacular all the time.
Right.
I did.
Right.
And then she wanted me to be this like plain Jane, kind of like mimicking her. And that was not me. Like my mama had this red slip, and it was lacy and real flare at the bottom of it. And I would put the slip on, and I thought I was just in an elegant evening gown, even though it was a slip, right? Yeah. And I would just be so happy in this slip. And I've always felt like that. And so when I got old enough where I could authentically be who Latiska wanted to be, without what society and anybody else has to say, it was like it finally happened.
Now, what I get from my son is he thinks that I don't have the style because you're old, Dad. This is what he says to me. I'm like, dude, you just don't know, dude. Like, hey, when I went to school, I was always fresh. Like everybody, like they knew me from my dress to my hair to my style. Kept myself groomed, kept myself clean, kept myself smelling good. I always had a drawer full of cologne. So I try to tell him, like, dude, I might tell him something like, like you were saying though, your mama would buy your clothes or whatever, and you like, I wanted to dress how whatever. So I find myself, I'll buy him some clothes without him there, but I also let him choose stuff when, I'll go to the store and I'll take him, let him choose, or the shoes or whatever. Shoes that I might think is nice, he don't necessarily like them. Mm-hmm. So I find them sitting up in his little thing that you got hanging on the door. They sitting right there. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start letting him choose his shoes, because the ones that I think are fresh, speaking of word fresh, right? That's telling my age, that, I'm just going to let him start doing it. So, he gets to pick out his own shoes, man. I try to let him be as independent as possible, make decisions on his own, and that's it. You know, we need that. We need that social skills, independent skills, discipline, and like I say, nurturing and loving. It's all got to be a package. You got to discipline your child, you know, and you got to love on them. You know, like he just came in here, he hugs me every night before he goes to bed. You know, he does this little silly thing that he likes to do, and it scares the crap out of me. He likes to dive on me.
Ah.
I got a little chair by my bed. He'll be like, climb up, be like, you ready? And I'm like, dude, I got to the point now I just let him do it. You know, he'll just go, wow, and just dive all on me. You know, I'll be watch out for my teeth, man. I need these. And my teeth is already in. They ain't growing in like yours. So I don't want no knee to hit me in the mouth or no elbow or no head. So, but I just love that interacting, you know. That's very vital for me.
Now, how do you think? I think theater plays a big role, and I will say this: in a lot of our schools, we don't have that.
Yeah, you don't have the theater anymore.
You know, like a place where they can play.
Right. Yeah, I don't think his school. Yeah, they don't have that. They don't have that. You know, but my son always acts out stuff himself, and to be quite honest, him and I are going to start doing some things where we do some skits and put him on. He loves Good Times. He loves Sanford and Son. Yes, I let him watch Sanford and Son. He loves all the old school sitcoms, and I got him to, you know, watch those and see if he liked it, and he started loving it. Sometimes I'll just hear Good Times playing on the thing, and I just love that because he learned about past and he learned about this new stuff too, because that's his generation. But I also want him to know about the old school sitcoms that meant a lot to me. You okay over there?
I don't know.
Lord Jesus, drink you some water. Okay, come on back. All right now. Hey, so whoever's listening on here, man, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to your boy, man. I'm sharing some things that I think are important to raising your child. You know, thanks for listening. If you're still listening from the beginning to the end, I know somebody is. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you guys for cooking. Yeah. I'm drinking.
What's up? What you drinking?
Flow, the flow, baby. We on the flow.
Flow?
In the flow. That's the name of the show. In the flow. And this is
alkaline
water.
Oh, okay. I drink alkaline water. That's all I drink.
Really?
That's all I drink. All I drink. Look. What does that say?
Okay. There we go.
Alkaline.
Now I'm gonna tell you this. Now, if I'm out and I can't get to the alkaline water, and it's right in that moment, I'm gonna say a Holy Ghost prayer. Lord bless this water. Because at the end of the day, the only person that can make water is God. So
yes, ma'am.
Nobody can make water. So I'm gonna bless the water that I drink, and I'm gonna thank God for giving me what I need, giving me the life that I need, because water gives us life, and dismissing the rest.
You just drunk some right then, right? That's water. He supplied you with that water.
That's right. Supplies all my needs. Let me tell you, you know, the Bible says, in all things give thanks, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So for the past couple of days, everything I touch, I just been saying thanks. I want to see, because you know, just testing your own consciousness level of how blessed you truly are. A lot of times we don't see it. So I said, you know what, Lord, I'm finna prove to myself something, and I'm finna show you I can do it, because in all things I can give thanks. Baby, he has been blowing. And I tell you, I don't know, because you know, I believe in it's a male energy and a female energy. God, spirit. You know, I think of God as a spirit. And the image of all things, so it's male and female energy. And I realized as I was praying, I said, you know what? I always be saying our Father, but then why is it I neglect to acknowledge the feminine energy of God? Because God gives life.
Mm-hmm. Gives life. Uses y'all to get us here.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know what? And I had to say that part. I said, Father, I said, you know what? Spirit, forgive me for just acknowledging one part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge all of you. You know, at all
Yeah.
times, be consciously aware that, you know, there's that yin, that yang, that male, that feminine, and we all have that male and feminine energy within us. And it's like denying a part of myself when I just acknowledge one part of me.
Mm-hmm. You're
You
right.
know, I'm a single parent, and I know how to, you know, I know how to change tires and stuff like that. You know, that's male energy. I don't necessarily want to stay in that male energy.
Right. Because you're a woman.
But I
You
know
know,
how to do it. But I don't
you
want
know
to
how
stay
to do it.
in it.
Now, see, now, right now, how come? Why aren't not how come? Why aren't all like you were taught that? Like that would be the furthest from a lot of parents' mind to teach their child how to do something like change a flat. From they might think all the men need all the boys need it, but what about the girls? They can't learn that. Why
Baby,
not?
my godfather was serious. Let me show you how to check this oil, and let me show you this, and this is your tire pressure, and this is that and other. So I'm grateful for the people that God has put in my life because they taught me some stuff. You
It
know,
took
they
the
taught me
village, didn't it?
real stuff.
It took the village. And I was the same way. It took the whole village. I used to go and my mother always taught me. It's crazy. Uh, ask, ask questions. So I'd be on the block. I see Willie. He was the guy that lived on the block. I go over there and I ask him. He was the hood, the block mechanic. I go over there and I watch him and I ask questions. So I learned how to do a lot of things working on the car because Daddy wasn't there. And again, we talking about feminine. My mother didn't know, and she wasn't taught that or whatever. So, but Mama knows how to tell you how to raise a child though. That's what I do know.
And then I'm gonna say this. I don't think I want to. Like I've looked at some videos and contemplated. Like I've taken my car to like we were talking about get oil change. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's all I got to do to change the oil. And then I thought about it. I don't want to do that. It look easy, but I don't
Right.
want to do it. I just
And
don't want to do it.
I get that. I get that. So I make sure that I make sure the oil is changed. I make sure she's taken care of, and that oil
Look,
change.
and look, going in there with these nails on, trying to. I don't want to do that. And I be out
Lord, don't say
with my
nothing.
nails.
Don't say nothing about no nails. Lord Jesus, y'all want them nails? Long ones, pointy ones, all that.
I cannot get it. Now I'm gonna tell you this. When I was younger, my nails used to be real long, real long, real long, and I
Lord.
could get along and do all kind of stuff with my nails.
Yes, ma'am.
But I
Not
don't
no
think
more.
I don't want to do that no more. I went through that phase. I went through that phase because I love the nail art. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
ma'am.
As far as the pictures and the acrylics and all the things that they could do. I love just expressing myself with my hands.
Yes, ma'am.
See, when I talk this time, and so when they were longer, just imagine me, and they just all kind of colors and but that was a form of my own self-expression. So I understand what the young ladies are doing, and I hope that they're doing it for their own satisfaction and not just
Mm-hmm.
doing it to fit in. I did it because it satisfied me,
Yes, ma'am.
to get my nails done the way I wanted. Like one time I had the Lord's Supper, I had Martin Luther King, I had male and female and babies on all my fingertips. And I was just all out. I was all out because that's who I was. I wore my hair in
Mm-hmm.
all colors. I had purple hair. yell at him, green
You
him.
listen, we're gonna get people cussing at us in a minute.
But that's self-expression.
Because we talk about all kind of stuff. They be like, what, are they talking about the children or what they do?
Well, we're talking about allowing your children to be self-express themselves at an early age and not suppress it. Because see, I didn't get to even examine who I was until later on in life, probably in my 40s. Because I was Latiska, and then I was a mother. So, mothers dressed like this, and grandmamas dressed like that. And all of those things, I had to be all those things for other people. And it took me to my darn 40s, late 40s, to be able to express my even know what Latiska was.
Yeah. Well, now you can do what you want to do. I kind of tell my son that as well. When when you become grown, you can do a lot of the things that you may not agree with daddy. And, until that time, I need you to focus on what I'm telling you, because I'm telling you for a reason. I'm telling you to whatever it is, brush your teeth in the morning and at night. When you walk out of the house, make sure you're presentable. We're not to walk out of that door, looking raggedy. You ain't got. I don't make my son wear a suit and every day and wear dress shoes every day and all that. That's cool if parents would like to do that, but I keep him well rounded with his attire, where he can wear sweatpants, he can wear jeans, stuff like that, and I don't have a qualm with it. I want him to feel comfortable, but again, like I say, to go back to it, it's just about these children, man. It's about these children, and I'm determined for the remaining of my time that I'm on here. He called me home, then I'm gone. By the time I'm still left on this earth, this is what I want to do. I want to do it on a huge platform, where I can, speak to, like I say, children and parents alike, to get them to, from what I've learned in my experience. I've taken care of my son now for 8 years by myself, as far as the rearing of him and so forth, and being a part of his schooling and teaching him and everything like that. And I don't have all, I definitely don't contemplate to have all the answers, like I say, but I feel in the core of my person that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Now, let me ask you, how can we support what you're doing for the kids?
When I start, well, for one, the people that I talk to on a regular, if they just, try to follow instruction, you can consult me on DM me, on Facebook. I'm on IG as well. Marlon Allen, Marlon Jazz Kirkwood. I go by Jazz as well. A lot of people know me by Jazz. Or you can come to my events when I start, doing them on a big scale. Or I'm going to start on a small scale, because I haven't done the big meat of what I want to do. I've talked in my community and so forth, but I plan on being, big in that, big, like on a huge platform where I can just get to the masses and they can hear and they can learn of what I've learned in the years that I've been on this earth. You understand? So, and that was with a single parent, a single mother, without my dad for some years. After a little while, and she got married, and then I had another brother come and so forth like that. But for years, it was just her and I. Then my little brother came along, and then another brother came by the man that she married. So, and then there again, he worked a lot, so I had to be, quote unquote, that father figure and taking care of the children. I had to make sure that we all ate, while they worked, and so forth and so on. So I just acquired that knowledge of what it entails, man. And, we just gotta care. You need to care. Not that the parents don't be caring, but sometimes they don't be caring. I I'm telling you the truth. All around the neighborhood, all the children, they migrate over here. They love me. They, because they know I'm gonna get on you. I might say something like, "Hey, man, what's going on? What's going on with the clothes, or why your shoes ain't tied?" Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Jazz. They call me Mr. Jazz, and I've taught some of them how to tie their shoes. Why just why is it 9 o'clock and it's dark out here and you still outside? That means the parents aren't paying attention because they in the house doing whatever they doing and not paying. Then something happened, then you want to cry, my child, my son, my daughter, but you wasn't paying them no attention. You see?
Let me ask you this. How do you feel about them taking cursive writing out of school?
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Why? Why would you do that? You have to write. You have to sign your signature on stuff.
Well, you see, everything is turning into, do it yourself. You got a cell phone, sign up for this and that, this and that and other. But do you think it's for me? I say we should all know how to write.
Yes, yeah, and my son knows he does it. I'm going back to my son, like my son, but it's just, I've shown him how to do it. He learned a lot in school too, but I just the essential things that we as parents, like, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility. When it's time for you to go home and you ain't done this, that, and the third to train your child up to, it said train him up the way you want him to go, and he was, he gonna love on you till it's time for you to go. You see. But you got to be responsible in that area and teach your child the essentials of life. Teach them how to iron. Teach them how to cook. Teach them how to drive a car. I'm teaching my son how to drive a car. I don't let him get behind the wheel himself, but I'm showing him so I don't have to worry about waking up, getting the call. Mr. Allen, your son is taking the car and he's didn't wreck it. I'm teaching him. I'm getting him prepared for life. And I think that's important. If you're not teaching your son these things and teach him to go to bed, he knew what time to go to bed. He knew. I don't, say he don't make it all the time. Don't misunderstand. But hey, man, what time is it, man? He got his alarm clock. He got his own room. He got his own bed. He got his own TV, and that TV is to go off at 8 o'clock per day. That cell phone, I got an app on the cell phone. It cuts the cell phone off too, so that if I'm asleep, he can't sneak on his phone. Mm-hmm. But see, a lot of parents ain't thinking about that. You're not thinking about that because you're doing what you're doing.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, I really got to get into this. What if, because now we're talking to a person like you that is level-headed and is not so much of controlling your child, but controlling
the atmosphere.
The atmosphere, so things won't begin to become uncontrollable. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's say you're living with a narcissist or someone that is just totally controlling, just has a controlling aspect over what you do, how you do it, and then some of the most unhealthy things is okay for you to do, but the healthy things that's good for your brain to actually function, because our imagination is everything.
Yes, ma'am.
That our imagination is everything. So a child looking at a video game all day or looking at television all day kills your brain cells. You're not using your imagination. You're just taking in pictures and information.
You saying everything coming out my mouth. Go ahead, though.
So knowing that you're just deadening the brain, what would your suggestion be to a parent that may not be aware that their coping mechanism is really doing more detrimental harm to their child?
Well, first of all, Ms. Powell, you got to have structure, right? And what I always say, it's hard for us to look at ourselves all the time. Like when I say all the time, sometimes it's hard, period, to look at yourself. So then you have to ask, talk to your child and say, hey, how do you feel about this? Is daddy, I'm saying this because I just had to do this. Like, what did you feel about the way I approached you? You know, well, I felt like you this or you that, and but I understand what you were saying. I said, well, okay, that's the answer. But if you're not, I try to keep all angles open when it comes to uh, his feelings. His feelings and how he feels about just whatever it is. So, I'd like to know if he felt like my approach was this or my approach was that, or he deserved this, he deserved that, or whatever it is. To
So
keep
you're
that,
open. You're open to that criticism, to hear it from the other end.
Oh yeah, I don't mind. You're gonna be like, wait a minute, what you mean? Why are you saying that? So, that's with anybody. That's gonna be, But then you just got, especially it's a child, so you really have to be more so open to critiquing of being a parent. Because I don't have all the dang on answers. I don't contemplate to do. I'm say that 5 times. I don't contemplate to have all the answers. But I am going to.
When do you have these conversations? Is this like a once a week conversation that you've decided to have, or is this depending on each circumstance?
It depends on the circumstance. I'm not gonna have it every week. No, I don't think that's kind of over the top. But it's just anything. It depends on the situation. I mean, I'm going to address it. We're going to talk. We're going to talk about life. I talk, tell my son about life and death, and that it's inevitable that's what's going to happen. When it's time for daddy to go home, I'm going to have to go home, and it just depends on the situation. It just depends, like I address it. We'll talk about it. I'm a realist. I talk to him. We're going to talk and say, hey man, come here. We need to talk.
So in the process of how you're raising him, the end game is for him to be self-sustainable.
Self-sustainable.
Independent.
Correcte mundo.
And intelligent.
Intelligent. Correct. Speak intelligently, son. Speak intelligently. It's just okay to use little words here and there. Heck, I'm 50 years old myself, and I use slang words. So I don't necessarily use them around him, but I might say dog, like we grew up. Like I'm like, dog, what you got on? Or something like that. So I want him to be well-rounded. I let him listen to old school music. That's what I play because, for one, that's my era. I listen, to Troop and Ready for the World and Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson. Just all, old school hip hop. I let him listen to all of that and let him be rounded in that. So when he gets older, they'll be like, man, how do you know about that? He can have a conversation. He can be conversational. He can go into a room and have a conversation with older people and younger people. He knows about the music that's going on right now. And I personally don't like it, but it is what it is. So I let him listen to it.
Hate on music, man. Let me tell you something. Don't be hating on music. Music is universal.
I ain't talking about the R&B. We talking about this rap stuff.
I like rap. I really love like hip hop, gospel music.
I
love bass, so I'm a bass girl. I love anything with bass, and I hear some bass. Oh, it's just like
right. I like bass too. I ain't gonna even lie. But that's
we got some bass in it. I love it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do. Is mold the generation of before and after. It's before. I mean, before the generation. Right here and after was how we got to work with them. We got to mold them. You see, I've done this 30 times because it's the molding of our children in this generation. Like they need us. We're gonna be gone here after a minute. We're not gonna be here.
Do you agree? It's not only what they hear, it's also what they see.
Oh, you about to make me throw this paper. You about to make me throw this pen over here. Yes, it's what they see. So sometimes people, they get, I ain't gonna say they get mad at me, like, well, man, you can't hide everything from them. You can't. Well, I don't mean I have to show them in my home. I don't have to sit around and let them hear me cussing or let them see me drinking or anything that, smoking or whatever people, choose to do around their children, I don't have to let them see that. I don't have to watch anything that's rated R on the TV and he just sitting there watching it with me. Next thing you know, somebody hugging and kissing and having sex or something, or, the agenda that they're forcing into us with the homosexuality and stuff. Like, hey, he's going to see it, he's going to learn, and that's what I feel. That's what I feel. He's going to learn. But that don't mean I gotta do all of that stuff right now in his face and interject it into him, and it's coming from me. He's gonna learn cuss words. He knows some, as a matter of fact, or whatever. So it is what it is. I don't want him to see me watching no.
I think I did a video about curse words. I was like, you know what? I grew up in a home and my mother cursed. I went outside my door. Guess what? People in my neighborhood cursed. I went to school. Guess what? The people in the building cursed. So it's no freaking way in the world I wouldn't know a curse word. It'd be a fool to think that.
Right. So that's what
and
I
it
tell
didn't
you.
just start at home. You know what I'm saying? Even if my mother was not a cursor, I lived in a neighborhood where they cursed. And I went to a school and the people came into the building and they cursed. So even if my mama wasn't cursing, I would have heard a curse word.
Yes, ma'am.
I went home because I saw some wrote on the bathroom. You know how they write on the bathroom wall?
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. So I asked my mama what it was, and she knocked the caboodle out of me. Because I had no idea what it was saying. And I said it so innocently.
Right.
Mama, what this mean right here? And said it. She said, what? And I said it again. No thing, no baby. I was flying out that kitchen.
Well, I tell you what, that's kind of what I'm saying pertaining. He's going to hear it. It's going to be inevitable. But I don't mean I have to entertain it and let him hear that Daddy taught me these. Daddy, he does it. Why I can't do it? Why can't I do? Because he used to drink. He'd sit there and drink a whole liquor and get drunk and lay out and be sleeping and all that type of thing. Like I don't think that's a great idea. So I don't do it. I don't choose to do it.
Amen. And that's at a early age. Some of us have to learn. I had to learn that behavior. Like I said, I saw my mama bleeding through me. I saw it for myself. It was brought to my attention. And once it was brought to my attention, I began to watch for her. I was looking for her with a magnifying glass. Oh, I don't want to be useless. And there's nothing wrong with her. You understand what I'm saying? There was nothing wrong with her. That's who she was. That was her unique self. Nothing wrong with her at all.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to be a reflection of her. I want it to be a reflection of myself.
Well, it's going to be inevitable that, that some of that it's going to go off on you because that's what you were taught. But that doesn't mean you have to act it out once you become of a certain age and you understand, like, I kind of don't like that.
And once you become aware of it, because if you're doing it on a subconscious level, that means you're not even freaking aware of it. But once you become aware of it on a conscious level, that's a whole nother level. That means you are aware. That means you are now responsible.
Yes, ma'am.
So with your responsibility, which way you gonna go? You gonna go up? You gonna stay where you're at? Or you gonna get worse? So now you got three choices. It ain't just left or right, good or bad. It ain't, it's more than just, it's three things you can do. You can stay where you're at. You can go higher and work on yourself as much as you possibly can. Or you can go on down that rabbit hole. But then the choice is yours. You become aware, and becoming aware of who you are is essential in life. Just become aware.
Correct. And that's why you got a Chew group that's coming to a stadium near you.
Oh my God. And as soon as you get your first event, you got to come back on the show. You got to let us know.
Of course.
You're in the A now. So we can support you in that.
I ain't gonna even lie. You're the first interview that, in this capacity that I've had. So, you can't forget the people that thought, look to you as something that may be interesting for people to hear, for people to learn, and I truly appreciate the opportunity, to let people hear because of you. This is like the first thing that I've done, and it's exciting, and I appreciate it.
Because the spirit in me says, give him the opportunity to speak it into existence. The whole universe is listening.
You got it.
A lot of times we say things and we say it to ourselves. It's another thing when you really put it in the atmosphere. So now God knows your intentions and he felt your emotions behind it. And with all of that and all those great intentions that you have, I bless your path, and I thank God for creating someone like you to go outside of yourself to help other people.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's important. Get me emotional on here. Go on here. Give me
Well, don't get emotional, because look, you're about to have an emotional time in your life. You're about to start stepping into the greatest part of your life, doing exactly what you enjoy doing. You know what I'm saying? And allowing your life to, I guess, blossom other lives. And so you can look back over your life and say, wow, I played a part in that.
It's funny you say that, because I'm not gonna lie, I do that now. I'm not even gonna lie, I do it now because it feels good. You know what I mean? I got a cousin that him and I, we grew up without our dads, and him and I speak every single day, and we're about the same in age, and he's a father that takes care of his children, but he's got 5 children, and he's taking care of them by himself. Well, 2 of them are grown, but there's 3 of them that still are at home. So, we just mold in that regard. We might butt heads, but we talk every day and we kind of run things up. Hey man, well, whatever. Hey, what you think about? And that's how we love on each other, man. As family and as men that are taking care and being responsible for our children. I happen to just have one, and I'm happy for that one. But he's my child and God's son.
Amen.
Amen.
I agree with that. And the Bible says, children are rewards. And a lot of women, especially single parents, have never read that scripture. That children are rewards. And I don't think if they had even attempted to read that scripture, a lot of things that are taking place wouldn't. Because you would honor them as a reward. You would understand that you're playing a very serious role.
Reward.
They turn out. So they can reward you, and it feels good, or they can reward you the other way.
Right. I know what you're saying.
What you put in, you get out now.
You got it. And I live by that. I really do. So that's why I say I'm thankful to you for putting me on this platform and letting me share this, man. My lady, she forces me and encourages me and motivates me to be great herself, and all I do is just be thankful. You got to have that, bam, get up, what you doing? Let's go, boom, 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 boom. A woman that pushes a man, get out of here. You got to be kidding me. You got to have that. And the men that don't have it, I'm sorry. Because we're our greatest when they come in and say, hey, hey, let's do this, let's get it. Time to take some notes, time to get it going. So I can continue to do the great stuff that I do and the push I need on the back like that, because that's what we need as men. That's what we look for.
Well, then I'm excited to hear you but then you already said that you were open-minded, that you were an open person.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times men won't even listen to what you're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like, come on now.
I can't lie. Now hold on, one little thing. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes that I ain't feeling that. I ain't, you know, I ain't gonna
But
go with
you
every
are open
affirmative.
enough to listen. You understand
Yes,
what I'm saying? You're open
absolutely.
enough to listen and
Yes,
to evaluate. Okay, now let me simmer on this for a minute. A lot of times you just get shut down. And now this is coming from a woman now. You know, just shut down.
right,
Well, I'm a man and I know and that I just said another. Okay, you may be a man and you may know, but guess what? I'm a woman and I see things from a different. The parts you can't see, I see. That's just like the parts I can't see, you see. You know, I
right,
got your back. You know, you on some old humbug stuff. I'm
right.
saying look at it from a different perspective because if you're rubbing the trunk of the elephant, you don't know what's going on at the tail of the elephant. But I'm back here at the tail of the elephant. And
Well, hate to say it, we men sometimes we can be knuckleheads. I can't lie, but it take that you know, you know what it takes. Woman like you know, get us straight because we can be
oh, I don't know
knuckleheads. I
about
can't
this.
lie,
I
you
think
know.
y'all already straight. It's just, you know, just finding that space and it's refreshing to hear someone say that they are
Yeah,
open-minded, you
yeah,
know, that they're willing to listen and not and know that I don't know everything. If I knew
right.
everything, I'd be God for real.
Well, I tell you what, I had to listen today to some stuff, so I changed you know, my thought about some stuff, and so it worked out.
Amen. See that?
Amen. Yes,
That's what it
yes.
takes. What he said, repent, change your mind. Change your
Yeah.
mind. Now, it's okay to change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Marlon, I think Marlon, yeah, Marlon, baby, I'm losing my track of thought process right now.
Go
Marlon,
ahead.
I apologize, but I do appreciate you being on the show. And please invite us to your first event. Come like a videotape of the song, baby. We got to go live. I got to go live. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to do it. We're going to do it big. Okay?
Well, you can always bring me back whenever. It don't have to be just this one. I can come back and
All
give
right,
you.
now.
You see what I'm
Don't
saying?
get
I don't mind.
don't get on because you know what? I'm doing a new segment. It's
Oh,
called
are you?
The Uncommon Sense.
The uncommon sense. That's all right.
The Uncommon Sense. And we're gonna
Yeah.
call it Bougie Ghetto.
I know somebody like that. I ain't gonna say them names, but yeah. Ain't no names. But guess what? Hey, I'm here. I can come back whenever you say you hit me up. You say, hey, I wanna put you back on here. I'll be like, well, what time and day? What we doing?
Man, we about to get Bougie Ghetto, man. We're gonna bring all the hot topics to the front stage. Let's talk about it on every
Okay.
level.
All
And
right.
so that would be great because when I tell you, you have cracked me up for the night. I love your energy.
With the hands.
Yeah, I love your energy. Just your energy. Your energy. I love your energy.
Man, thank you so much. I really, oh my goodness, I love that. I love that, and that's what life should be. You know what I mean? For the masses. I love when I hear someone tell me that, or you know, say well, whatever, and just acknowledge it. You know, I won't know unless you acknowledge it. I'll tell somebody. I'll tell them on Facebook. I don't even got to know them. I'll DM and say, hey man, you're doing a great job, man. I can be walking somewhere and I say, hey man, you know, whatever it is, just to encourage them to be great. You know, you were thinking this small, but you can be this big. You come on, let's do it.
And
What's
how about
stopping you
this? How about this? How about be this big in your own head?
in your
Let your
own head?
head be like this. Just
Like
within
this. Look how big
yourself.
mine is.
Look within yourself. Because in the end, you don't have to have validation from anybody to be you. Nobody can validate you but
That's
you.
what I speak on. Nobody. You can do what you want. Do it. Do it. Whatever you want to be, whatever it is that you want to do. Ain't nobody stopping you but you. I ain't trying to rap
Yeah.
or nothing, but you know what I'm saying. But what? Why? Why you can't do it? I set out to
Between
do. I set out to be an entrepreneur, Miss Powell. And I said I have to be better, have more availability to my son at 2 years old. When I was taking him and dropping him off, I had to make sure I was there because I was a manager at this company. Had to make sure this, that, and the third. I'm like, I'm done with this. I need to be there for my child. So I planned my escape route, and I became an entrepreneur. I haven't looked back. They say, you still doing what? You ain't back to no job. I will never work for another person in my life. And I mean that. And I teach my son that. I just want to tell you that. I teach my son entrepreneurship. It's very important. I teach him as a 9-year-old. I bought him a soda machine, and I said, this is going to be yours to start your entrepreneur life. If you ask him now, what are you going to be? He's going to tell you, an entrepreneur. I'm not going to say when you get that you got to go work for that. You got Walmart. You got to go work for Ford. No, if he wanted whatever it is, you're going to be. It's an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And I mold him in that fashion. You're going to get. I got him a big old soda machine. He's going to replenish it. I'm going to fill it up the first time. He's going to, get the proceeds. He got a bank account. He's got a good penny in there.
Learn the responsibility of doing that thing.
Why? See, we weren't taught that. When you get 18, you up out of here. Mm-hmm. That's what I was taught. Mm-hmm. So she didn't have all the answers neither, because if she would instill entrepreneurship with me, then I'd be a
long time ago.
Long time ago. Stop playing. The game is over. Stop playing. We got to teach them that at a young age, so they can go out and do that. Now you're gonna work for nobody. Somebody started McDonald's. Somebody started Wendy's, Walmart, all these different places. Why you can't start your own? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm talking about? Some of these car lots, whatever it is. Don't get me on a tangent. We were supposed to be off this phone, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Once I start talking, it's on now, because it's about these things.
Faith without works is dead.
It's dead. DEAD. And you don't have to be somebody. Listen, you don't have to be somebody's biological to give them the love and nurturing and discipline that they need. Now, you can't go firing up somebody's kid on the block, but you can talk to them and say, "Hey, man, do you think that's a good decision that you did that?" I'm gonna tell you the truth. Hey, man, go to the house. I'll tell the child in a minute. I don't care. The mama and daddy can just get mad at me. But I just seen him doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing. You see, you gotta. There's a thin line. You don't want nobody to get mad. Hey, you don't talk to my son. No. But I just got to deal with the consequences, because I love the children. If something happened to them, I'm gonna be upset.
What? Be very upset. I'm not even a little bit upset.
I'm not lying.
I'll be like Medea, baby. I'm upset. Somebody gonna have to give me some answers, and I mean right now, before anybody else. Don't talk to me until it's an answer on this.
There's gonna be some consequences and repercussions.
Got to be an answer for me, baby. I won't hear no excuses. None.
No excuses. Let me get off here. Hey, I love you. I thank you so much.
Later. Have a beautiful night.
Later. We'll talk again. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Bye now.